Good morning, students. Today in counseling psychology, we are going to discuss stage 1 skills. In credit 4, our next topic is stage 1 skills. In previous class we have discussed about pre-helping skills. So after pre-helping phase or pre-helping skills, the next topic is stage 1 skills. So in stage 1 skills, we are going to discuss about empathy, respect, genuineness and concreteness. So let us discuss these all stage 1 skills one by one. So first of all, empathy. So empathy, we know what is empathy. Okay, again here we are going to discussing it is about empathy very deeply. What are the steps are there in empathy? So empathy is the experience of understanding another person's condition from their perspective, and you place yourself in their shoes and feel what they are feeling. Empathy is known to increase pro-social behavior, means in order to helping the individual, you are putting yourself in his place so that you can understand his feelings and emotions and you can help them. That is the empathy, and the ability to perceive another's experience and then to communicate that perceptions back to the individual to clarify and amplify their own experiences and meaning. Okay, so here you are putting yourself in their experiences, you are understanding their situation and coming back and you are explaining them and you are helping them like how to overcome this problem. And empathy is the ability to experience the feelings of another person, and it goes beyond sympathy. Okay, sympathy and empathy, like we use sometimes synonymously, but empathy is more than sympathy. Okay, in sympathy you are just pity on you, okay, on him. Okay, and here in empathy you are involving in that emotion by putting yourself, whereas in sympathy you are just showing your concern on them, that's it. But here in empathy you are involving in the emotion by putting yourself in that particular situation, so which is caring and understanding for the suffering of others. And both words are used similarly and often interchangeably but differ subtly in their emotional meaning. So sympathy and empathy are different. So here there are three steps for showing the empathy. Okay, so if you want to show empathy on any other person, for example as a counselor you want to show empathy on client, there are three steps. So the step 1 is create a safe and nurturing environment for the client. This is both literal and figurative. The area should be uncluttered and private. The counselor should be a calming presence. Okay, so here what is step 1 is saying, the meaning of this step 1 is, here it goes like an talking terms and through their body language with the client. Okay, and here you have to provide nurturing environment, means where the client can feel safe and he grow and he develop in his personality in order to reveal the information. And the area should be uncluttered. What is the meaning of uncluttered? Uncluttered is the area should not having by too many objects or details or elements. Okay, so that it can create confusion in the client's mind. Okay, so it should be a peaceful environment. Even the counselor should be a calming presence so that he feel secure and comfortable in that place and start revealing the information. And step 2 is use encouraging behaviors to prompt the counseling client to share more information about his or her life circumstances. So these include non-verbal cues such as open body posture and verbal cues such as I see and tell me more. Okay, so here you are providing encouraging the client to reveal the more information regarding the problem, and here you are using verbal cues. Cues is nothing but like it said or done that serves as a signal. Okay, it is a signal that you are allowing to an actor or performer to enter or to begin. Okay, so that is called cues. So here you are giving verbal cues or non-verbal cues also, so that the client can become encouraged and he can start giving the information. And so here you can use both verbal cues and non-verbal cues. Cues is nothing but a signal you are giving to a client in order to say the or reveal the information. And step 3 is truly listen to the client's words and observe non-verbal cues. Okay, so because we here non-verbal cues means which he cannot express by the words, that he express in the non-verbal cues like through body language and all. So here you have to understand and observe keenly about his non-verbal cues, and every single ounce of attention needs to be focused on the client. Okay, so you should not be distracted yourself, you must focus on the client and try to see where the client is coming from and what he or she is experiencing. Okay, so everything you have to note down here in the step 3. So these are the 3 steps of empathy. In first step, you have to provide nurturing environment where he feels secure. Okay, and where he is here it goes like he's talking terms, and through their body language slowly he's starting, he's feeling comfortable. Okay, and you are understanding him, his situation. And in step 2, here you are encouraging the client to reveal more information by verbal cues and non-verbal cues. By using verbs, verbal language and non-verbal language, you are communicating with him to reveal more information. And whereas in step 3, so here you are focusing your complete attention on the client, okay, in order to understand each and every point of the client. So next, formula for showing empathy. So here, once the counselor has created a safe and nurturing environment and the client has opened up about what is going on in their life. Okay, so slowly they are opening up with you because you have provided a comfortable environment to them. Then the counselor can accurately reflect the client's feelings, identify the key emotions of the client and relate the emotions back to the client to clarify and focus attention on the client's feeling. So once you have empathized his feelings, again you say to him whatever the feeling you have empathized about him, again you say, so that you can get the clarification about the feeling whether it is right or not. For example, if the counselor if the client is discussing about a sad thing or event whatever happened to him, okay, so you said after listening to that, you said very sad moment, you have to say like this in front of the client. So then the client said yes, because he is agreeing, you empathize his emotion and you are saying that it was a very sad moment for you. Then the client is saying yes, it is really sad moment, means you are for clarification, you are saying his whatever emotion he has faced, and then he is clarifying by saying that yes. So like that it will be goes on. Then you name the emotion and expressed by the client. You name the emotion, okay, like name, thought, experience and behavior the client has mentioned. You have to name it, okay, sad moment, okay, it was a very angry situation, you was very aggressive in that time, like that you have to name the situation. It means you have empathized it. And one may want to include a disclaimer beforehand, such as let me see if I have this right, or please tell me if this is accurate. Okay, for example, here disclaimer beforehand means for example a statement that denies something or especially responsibility. For example, if you are denying with the statement of the client, you have to add that statement over there. Okay, one may want to include a disclaimer beforehand, such as let me see if I have this right, or please tell me if this is accurate. Okay, so like that you have to add your point. If you are denying with any statement of the client, you can add your point over there in between the conversation. Then through the use of the advanced communication skills of empathy, counselors can continue to follow their noble calling of helping others and creating meaningful relationships. So here advanced communication skills, okay, like all types of communication skills, by using these skills you are helping the client to overcome his problem, and you are establishing a meaningful relationship with the clients. This is about the empathy. Next stage 1 skill is respect. Okay, so though we have already discussed about the respect, here some more things we are discussing about the respect. And respect is not only in one stage, it should be there throughout the counseling process is done until the end, you until the problem has resolved, till from starting to till ending, you have to give respect to the client. Counselors have the responsibility to conduct themselves with unconditional acceptance of clients, including being fully aware of any personal and cultural differences. However, it does not mean necessarily the acceptance of all of their behavior. Okay, so here I told you in previous class also, whatever their cultural background, social background, religious background, all irrespective of all these backgrounds, you must give respect to the client. Okay, and it does not mean necessarily the acceptance of all of the behavior. Means if you are not liking anything, it doesn't mean, but you should not show it on outward aspect. Okay, you should not explicitly, you should no need to show it on outward aspect. Okay, and if not the most important feature of professional counseling, respect for the client. Okay, it is definitely high upon the priority list. Respect is the first in the counseling's priority list. You have to respect the client, whatever he may be. Maybe he is a criminal, maybe he is a anything. Okay, so you have to respect him. So regardless of who the client is and regardless of their behavior, the client has come to the counselor for assistance and deserves to be treated as a person of worth and value. So regardless of whatever he may be, he approached you for the help. So that is the main thing for you, that you have to respect, because he approached you for helping and resolving for his problem. Next, many counselors believe that there is a good in each of us, and for the potential of that to surface, individuals need to feel appreciated and valued. Okay, so whatever the problem may be the client. Okay, but you have to, as a counselor, you have to think that each and every individual is unique, and they have the own potential and abilities in order to resolve their own problems. So you have to make them confident about themselves and their potentialities in order to solve the problem. If you make them to feel comfort and confident about themselves, if you remove all the other barriers like fear and hesitation from them, they feel bold, confident, and without any hesitation they start focusing on their problem and they try to resolve the problem. So that is the duty of counselor here. By respecting him and his abilities and his potentialities, he make them to lead towards the solving of problem. So therefore, have a responsibility to assist clients to feel good about themselves and to increase the client's sense of self-worth. Means he is a worthy person, he can do anything, he is able to do and he is able to solve his problems by himself. Like that, you have to make him confident. Then it is not respectful to impose personal beliefs and values upon clients. Okay, so it is not respectful to for giving a immediate solution. You should not impose any kind of solution or suggestion on the client. Okay, you have to make him adjust to the situation first, then you have to discuss about these things, then let the client to choose his own decision. Okay, and choose his own solution for the problem, but here you should not impose the problem on client. So it is the counselor's roles to accept the client for who they are and where they currently are in their life. Okay, and when a counselor's values are imposed on an individual, they tend to react by rejecting those values without consideration and withdrawing from counseling. So what happened here, if you are imposing the suggestions, solutions to the on the client, what happened, they slowly distracted, they lose interest on your counseling, and they may be withdrawing also. Okay, and someday they stop coming to you for getting the counseling process. So like this may happen if you are imposing your solutions or suggestions on the client. So first of all, your duty is to make him feel about his abilities and potentialities. Okay, make him as an independent individual so that he can take his own decisions. Then you can put your solutions and suggestions in front of him and let them choose, because they are only implementing their own decisions and solutions in their life. Okay, and if you impose it also after your counseling process over, he do not follow that. Okay, because that is imposed one. So let them choose their own decision and their own suggestion in order to continue in their life, in order to solve their problems. An appropriate use of language is essential. Okay, you must use a good respectful language with to the client, to showing the client respect. Okay, like in polite manner you have to welcome him always with a smiling face and good appropriate language. Many counselors work with clients whose colorful language is simply a part of their vocabulary. Okay, so very good language they use. Some clients, they are from very good family backgrounds with cultural and working environment, so they use very good vocabulary and good language. But some individuals who have been raised in households where swearing is an acceptable part of everyday language, okay, like their cultural backgrounds, their household backgrounds are like that. Okay, so their language may be not understandable, and yet others find it abrasive or disrespectful. Okay, what is the meaning of abrasive? Abrasive is like if abrasive personality, if the person is having, means one that hurts or annoys, irritates and criticizes anyone and anything they are. Okay, that is called as abrasive personality. In abrasive also there are two types of persons, like the one who lacks self awareness. Because of that also he can use abrasive language or abrasive vocabulary. And the second one is who knows that he is using such language and words, but who knows full or well that thing are abrasive and take pride in it. Okay, he feel that he is doing very good job. Like that, two kinds of people are there: those who are using this abrasive language, or if they are having abrasive personality. So at the end, here we can say that the counselor must respect the client. Okay, he should not impose his suggestions and solutions upon the client. Okay, he must use very good, polite and respectful language so that the client can feel respectable. Okay, and see each and every thing you are doing towards the client, that is like a plus point to you, your counseling process, as well as for client also. So do each and everything patiently, okay, systematically and in a good manner, so that it will give a good results to both of you, even for the counseling process also. So here see, we have respect for human rights and human differences. Okay, everybody have to be respected. Okay, that is the human dignity, and respect for integrity, authority. Okay, the integrity means the moral values, authority, the whatever authority they are having, their responsibilities, their autonomy, their freedom, their confidentiality, their competence, each and everything should be respected. Okay, contracted, okay, bounded, explicit, open, monitored, privacy. Contracted means maybe the respect may be for because of they are contracted in this counseling process, they are bounded with us. Okay, explicit means like openness, they here clearly and stated clearly and in detail. Okay, for leaving no room for confusion or doubt. For that also you have to respect, because they are revealing their information to you, okay, without any confusion or doubt. Okay, explicitly means openly they are revealing. Okay, openness, that is, and monitored, the supervision you have to respect, and the privacy you have to respect. Each and everything of the counseling process you have to respect. That is comes under the respect. Then third stage 1 skill is genuineness. Okay, also we can call it as congruence. One more word for genuineness is congruence. So genuineness is also known as congruence, refers to a set of counselors' attitude and behaviors essential to a high level counseling process. So it is a very essential for a high level counseling process. To be genuine means to be truthful. Genuine means what? Your real self is the genuineness. You should be truthfulness, honesty. Okay, honesty also or truthfulness, this all comes under genuineness. Means you are genuine to the client. Okay, you are not having inward looking and outward looking. Okay, you are genuine from your inner aspects and from your outer aspects. So that is, to be genuine means to be truthful and to be real thing Genuine people are exactly what they represent themselves to be. Okay, what they are representing is, that is your genuineness, how they are, how they behave, how they speak, like this. So genuine people are never fake. What you see is what you get. Okay, means what you are seeing, that is only the genuinity. So a counselor can learn to be genuine by having a behavioral understanding of what it is to be genuine, together with a moral quality which is essentially a human value. Okay, so genuinity, being genuine to others, is a value. You are giving value to others, and that is your human value. And in the therapeutic triad, genuineness is an important part of the communication process. So genuineness is a important process of a communication process. The genuine person is one who simply tries to be himself or herself. Okay, he is genuine for himself and herself, and this person is comfortable with all of his or her interactions, and does not have to adapt or change roles in order to be acceptable to others. Each and every situation he is genuine, whatever the situation may be, and whatever the person may be, whether in home, office, in the society, okay, in the playground, in the park, in any public place, he do not change his personality. His true self is same, irrespective of the place and person. That is called as genuineness. Okay, and he do not show or change his roles in order to accepted by the people. Okay, he everywhere he is the same person. That is the genuineness. So here the counselor should be a genuine person. And genuineness is the most important concept in therapeutic counseling, according to Rogers. Okay, Carl Rogers is the exponent of this humanistic therapy. Okay, so he said genuineness is the most important concept in therapeutic counseling, and genuineness refers to the therapist's ability is be authentic. Okay, so he is an authentic person, so that refers to the genuineness. And when a therapist is genuine, he might share his or her emotional reactions to clients' problems and experiences. Okay, and he also truly shares his information, like in his life, if he come across situations or experiences, he also shares his experiences. Like everybody, all human beings are facing same some problems are common for everybody. So whenever he come across some problems or such situations, he discuss with the client and he shares with the client, because he is a true person, he is a genuine person. And genuineness does not mean therapists disclose their problems to clients. It just means that therapist shares his or her feelings regarding the client's experience. Means whatever clients is sharing, if your experience are like that, like if you also felt some experiences of same, so you can share. But you should, it doesn't mean you are sharing all your experiences, irrelevant and unnecessary things. Means it distract the counseling process. And the basis for the entire therapeutic process is the establishment of genuine relationship between the counselor and client. Okay, so if there is honesty and truthfulness and trust is there in the counseling process, it will lead in a good direction. Otherwise it may be breakdown in between. Okay, and client may take withdrawal from the counseling process. So the degree to which the counselor can be honest with himself or herself, and thus with the client, establish this basis. Some of the qualities which go to make up genuineness are, what are the qualities which make the genuineness are? See, the first one is professional role. Here, relating to others and helping others are part of the life of a counselor. Thus, at best, counselor should be role free. Okay, which means that a counselor should not use a facade to protect himself or herself in any way fool or client. Okay, so professional role, he should be a true professional in helping the client. He should not use a like a mask, like for some reasons he is showing some attitude or some behavior, and for some other reasons he is behaving like thing. Okay, so here he should be a true professional as a counselor. He should be genuine towards his role. Okay, he should not show any facade meant outward appearance. Okay, so he should be true self towards his profession, that is his professional role in the genuineness. And spontaneity. Okay, spontaneity means sudden. A genuine person is spontaneous and free but not impulsive. What is the meaning of impulsive? Acting are done without forethought. Okay, like here impulsive means acting are done without any forethought. If he is a genuine person, okay, he do all the things spontaneously because it is his nature to do those things. If he is a facade person, means who has only outward appearance, he changes his roles according to the situation. Okay, but the genuine person's work suddenly and truly, irrespective of the situation. So a skilled counselor is tactful, does not put a filter between him or his in his inner life. Filter means he do not changes his roles, or he do not there is no barrier between his outward and inner aspect. He is same as he is inside in his feelings and outside with the people. And what she or he expresses to others, and is assertive in the counseling process without being aggressive. Okay, so assertive and aggressive, in last class we have discussed in the communication styles. Okay, aggressive is speaking in a loud and demanding voice, dominate, but here he is assertive. Assertive means they express their own needs, desires, ideas and feelings while also considering the others' needs and desires. So he is assertive in his style. So that is the spontaneity, also one kind of genuinity. And non-defensive, the genuine person is non-defensive and is aware of his or her strengths and limitations when a client is deliberately negative in attitude towards the counselor. Okay, for example, if the client develops a negative attitude towards the counselor, so he do not try to defend himself, because there he is understanding the client's mind and whatever problem he is facing. Okay, so what the client is here, the counselor continues to understand what the client is thinking and feeling and continues to work with him or her. So thus a genuine counselor is at home with himself or herself and can examine negative criticism honestly. Okay, whereas it is in home, the counselor can criticize honestly about his negative attitude. Okay, if anybody says that he is a negative in attitude, but whereas in counseling process, the counselor continues to be work with the client, though he show the negative attitude towards him, because the counselor can understand the client's mind and his problem, and he can think that in future, okay, in the coming days, in the coming sessions, the client can understand and form a trust upon the counselor. Next, consistency. Consistency is nothing but continuity. Okay, so here a genuine counselor has few discrepancies and does not have one set of values for each situation. Okay, she or he is confronted with. A genuine counselor is tactful, and this springs from the strength the counselor has within himself or herself. So here in consistency, counselor may lack certain values within himself or discrepancy in his personality traits. Okay, counselor may lack certain values or within himself or discrepancy in his personality traits, but he should be tactful and impart values consistently. Okay, so here it doesn't mean okay, every man is not perfect in all his aspects. So here, like that, counselor also may not be perfect and may not be possessing all the values. Still, he is tactful in conducting the counseling process and he is imparting the values. Okay, that is the main thing here. Consistency should be there in imparting the values. And self-sharing, the genuine counselor is capable of deep self-disclosure. Okay, this self-sharing is done at the appropriate time in order to help the client. So I told you, okay, whenever some situations come, that time the counselor also share his experiences and feelings, that how he felt and he feel about that situation and problem, so that it may helpful to the client. Okay, it also gives an encouragement and confident for him to reveal his problems. Okay, and it should be done in order to achieve goals in the counseling process. It is not like unnecessary you are sharing all your experiences. It is in order to achieve the counseling process. Okay, so wherever it requires, whenever such situations come, that time only you have to share. And the openness of the counselor also permits the client to risk himself herself. Thus the counselor opens up his or her defenses to make the whole relationship an authentic one, which is an important stage in building authentic in life. So here in this authenticity also lies that how what type of content you are sharing and all. And ability of counselor to be freely themselves, okay, includes congruence, means genuineness between outer words, behavior and inner feelings, non-defensiveness, non-role playing, and being unpretentious. For example, if the helper claims that they are comfortable helping a client explore a drug or sexual issue, but their behavior verbally and non-verbally shows signs of discomfort, okay, with the topic, this will become an obstacle to progress and often lead to client confusion about and mistrust of the helper. So here what happened, if the counselor sometimes they said that we are comfortable to deal with these cases, okay, we will deal, but for example if it is the case of drug and sexual issue, so what happened, the counselor sometimes shows his uncomfortable or comfortness verbally and non-verbally with that case. So what happened at that case, client can understand the discomfort of the counselor, okay, and they cannot resolve their problem, okay, and they cannot reveal the information necessary for the counseling process, and they also get confused and they lack the trust upon the counselor, because at the starting counselor says that they will help them, okay, any kind of issue they are having they will help them, but later they are showing their discomfort towards the problem and the counseling process. So this client develop mistrust and they develop confusion upon the helper, okay. So here there will be no genuinity. Counselor said I will help you, but at the end he is showing his discomfort towards the problem, means lack of genuinity is showing here. So that should not be there. That is about genuineness. Next, coming to the concreteness. Okay, here concreteness is nothing but is an aspect of communication that means being specific. Concreteness means simple and known things are being specific is called as concreteness. Here you should be always in concrete mode with your client, okay, like specific, definite and vivid rather than vague and general. Okay, vague and general concepts are complex, they cannot be understood, so you should always be specific and concrete with your client. So a concrete communication uses specific facts and figures. Counseling skills of concreteness enable client to get a more specific awareness of their present problems and develop more functional strategies for taking action. So as simple as you are with your client, what happened, they develop more awareness about their problem and they develop more functional strategies for taking action. So you always use simple language, simple things, simple examples, specificity, maintain the specificity in your counseling process so that the client can understand the things. And it might also involve the keeping the client on track with that problem in the session, clarifying facts, terms, feelings, goals, and uses the here and now focus to emphasize issues in today's session. So you should always be maintain specificity, be simple, okay, and clarify their doubts, facts, everything in a simple manner so that they can understand the process, counseling process very easily. And keeping communication specific, focused on facts and feelings of relevant concerns while avoiding tangent and generalization. So here whenever you are communicating with the client, use basic facts and simple facts instead of tangents and generalization. These are the abstract things or complex things which cannot be understood by each and every person. So abstract discussions, okay, abstract discussions means unknown things or which are very high in their context. So abstract discussions are talking about counselor rather than the client. Okay, so this should not be done. Abstract things should not be there. Always concreteness should be there in the counseling process. You should avoid complex things, it may create confusion. So always use specificity and simpleness in the counseling. Includes the following functions. C. Assisting client to identify and work on a specific problem from the various ones presented. Okay, so always assist the client here, okay, to identify his problem, what type of problem he is facing, okay, and reminding the client of the task and redescribing intent and structure of the session. Okay, so how we are going to solve this problem, okay, how many sessions it will take, okay, everything you are describing the client here. Then using questions and suggestions to help the client clarify facts, terms, feelings and goals. So in order to clarify their doubts and in order to reach the conclusion of the problem, here you are asking questions and suggestions to help the client, and clarifying the facts means what is the fact of that problem, okay, and you are explaining the terms of that problem, your feelings and goals, everything you are explaining specifically and simply to the client. That is called as concreteness. Clear? So these are the four skills comes under stage 1 skills. Okay, let us revise what are these four skills. Empathy, okay, so empathy means here we have to empathize their feeling by putting in their situation. In showing empathy there are three steps: step 1, step 2 and step 3, okay, and there is a formula for showing empathy, okay. Then second one is respect, we have to respect, okay, whatever the client situation is or whatever the background is having the client. Then third one is genuineness, you should be true towards the client, okay, you always honest and your true self should be reflect towards the client in order to establish trust upon you, otherwise he withdraw from the counseling process. Okay, so there are some genuineness aspects are there, that is professional role, spontaneity, non-defensive, consistency and self-sharing. In this all these things you should maintain genuinity. And next last one is concreteness, means you should be simple and specific towards the client in order to in the counseling process as well as in explaining anything, so that he can understand and he can aware about his problem easily. Okay, thank you.